She's very extroverted.
I would say the thing that you said about making shorts, like, I have been fortunate that I've done 2 features in 2 years, but in between then, it's been making shorts because not only is it just keeping my skills, it's also like actors. Like, I feel like a lot of times they're like, oh, what else are you doing? Like, I'm doing this like cool project. So a lot of times that's how I've cultivated people that are doing other things like TV shows. If they have a moment or a day, it's like, let's just shoot something, so that now like I have a relationship with them and you're like collaborating on something else that could come back around and you could make other projects. So.
Didn't one of your features come from your Sprinkles commercials or whatever?
Well, yeah, I had made 10 shorts at Sprinkles, and that, like, a lot of the, like, everyone like, I want to be in one, and when we stopped making them, I was like, well, we're not making those anymore, but let's make this other thing. So it's just like kind of cupcakes, yeah.
Sprinkles.
Yeah.
Right, Valerie?
I'm a director and a writer, and I wrote so that I could direct, because that's what I learned when I was, at these panels, these seminars, is that you need something to direct, and nobody's going to let you direct their stuff, but when you haven't done anything. So I wrote my first movie so I could direct it. And then I found a great writer who had a great script, and that became my second feature. And then I just had my first director for hire gig that I wrapped on Friday. And I think for me, because I ultimately want to direct, and I love writing too, and I write, I write things still, is finding those writers, because I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait a year to write a script myself or to develop something. I want to be working. I would direct every day of my life if I could. And so I think, cultivating relationships with writers, learning how to develop writers, learning how to inspire them so they want to do a rewrite even when there's no money or whatever the situation is, has been a skill I've really developed. And so I think that's an important thing, is to always be thinking about where your material is going to come from, so there's not this long lag time of either you having to write it or you having to read a million scripts. So that's my advice, is always be on the lookout for great writers that want to work with you.
Be desperate, be emotional, and be personal. The number one thing I learned through I've done 2 crowdfunding campaigns and designing your website and reaching out to people at film festivals. You don't really make a connection unless you really, I'm neurotic, and I'm obviously talking real fast and is weird. And that's my brand as a filmmaker. And so when I meet people, I let my freak flag fly, and somehow it works a little bit, because for me it's genuine. I find it's really ineffective when I get emails that are robotic, or even if it's crowdfunding, when they're just like, please give me money. I want to hear how desperate you are if you need money. I want to hear how desperate you are to make that project. I want to hear how it's going to feed your soul to make that film. And I give that advice to anyone here. When you talk about your films and you talk about what you want to do it with all of yourself, and don't do a project unless you feel incredibly passionate about it. That's just my MO.
I can follow up with both what Valerie and what Liz said. We just went through a process where we interviewed 40 some odd film directors for a project that I'm pretty inspired by. The first, to Valerie's end, we are taking 7, my company and I, taking 7 public domain films that already exist out there and repurposing them for a modern era. So you already have sort of like an element of a script in our hand. The first one's going to be Rashomon, which we're going to turn into a Western. We're going to shoot all 7 of these films in a row. We're going to hire all below the line to work as if it's going to be for 100 days in a row. So everybody has guaranteed work for 100 days. The keys will all change out. We'll have 1 first AD who's in charge of 7 first ADs. Sort of like a whole network of chain that we're going to... And so each film, and then I'm going to produce hands-on 3 of them, and then my partner, Veronica Radaelli, she's going to produce the other 4. And we're going to do this next year. So it was to your point. You had something you just said. The interview process. That was pretty much it. I mean, they had to really. Those that came and brought it, and we gave them a laundry list of films that I thought they should look at, and they're available to watch. And those that came prepared, really desperate, wanting to do it. I mean, we leaned towards that. Our mandate was we had twofold. We didn't want all white males directing these films, so we only got 3. We got 2 females and 2 other people, so of different ethnicities. That was like a mandate for internally for. What's that? That would be awesome.
3 men, 2 women, and
people of color.
And yeah, no, but even the women and the men, we got a mixture. 3 white dudes, that's all we got. So it was important to get different voices for these different films. It was a conscious decision on our part, and so each the films we're going to do them all in a row.